Who feels permission to take up space in the world? Why? My name is Alex Wong. I'm a musician, advocate, and chef living in Nashville, Tennessee. I've always been fascinated by this question, and it inspired me to create my latest project, Permission, part concept album and part multi-sensory live experience. Permission is an honest, personal, and at times uncomfortable look at my journey as a person of color, learning how to take up space in America. Growing up in the US as a second-generation Chinese American, I often struggled to feel permission to take up space. Racist attitudes embedded in American society saw me as a submissive, emasculated foreigner. Cultural values told me to stay small, keep my head down, and not make waves. TV and movies showed me that people who looked like me could be sidekicks, decorations, or punchlines, but we didn't have permission to take up space in the center of the room. These stereotypes manifested themselves physically. As a kid, when I would try to sing, my throat would constrict to prevent me from making too much noise. Instead, my voice would crack, and I would shrink even more from shame and embarrassment. Joining my first rock band at a time when Asians were a rarity in the American music industry, I quickly learned to downplay my cultural identity. I was even told point blank by a former manager not to appear too Asian, as it wouldn't be relatable to mainstream audiences. Ironically, it was a move to Nashville many years later, when I was often the only Asian body in the room, that made me finally notice how much of myself I had been hiding. There's a line from the new record that goes,
I miss the sound of my father's Chinese, fading in the suburban breeze.
It was one of the hardest lines I've ever written because it exposed an uncomfortable truth that I had been avoiding for much of my life. Growing up, I carried a lot of shame around losing my heritage to American culture, and at the same time felt a lot of pressure to assimilate. I felt like I occupied a space in between two cultures, not enough of one to be accepted by either. But if I continued to wait for their permission to take up space, I would be waiting forever. I started questioning the stereotypes I'd internalized, the rules I'd learned that kept me small, and even my own idea of what it meant to be Asian American. I knew I needed to claim that in-between space as my own. I explore these questions in real time throughout the songs on Permission. As I crafted the sonic world around the lyrics, looking for colors and textures that would tell the emotional stories, but let my voice take up space in the center for the first time, I found myself exploring another question. What can Asian American music sound like? Trying to empower people to feel permission to take up space. To bring the album to life, I created a multi-sensory live experience called the Permission Parties. Using food as an on-ramp to my cultural memory, I created a 6-course dinner, pairing each song from the album with a Chinese-inspired dish that shares a common emotion. By sharing my journey, I hope to empower everyone, especially those on the margins, to feel permission to take up space with their stories.